It is safe to say that this first week of the season has gone about as well as we could have hoped it could go.
Oh
Five
yeah.
and two, Adam.
Yeah. Split with the Orioles and then sweep the Nats.
And I
It's
mean,
the
we
best
touched
realistic thing you could hope for.
absolutely. Realistically, this is right where this team needs to be, especially with the fact that we've gone over what a meat grinder of a schedule April is. If you have not looked
Hmm.
at the April schedule, everyone, this is the most difficult month for the Jays in the season. So it's kind of one of those, can they keep their head above water months? Can they come out of April still within striking distance of the playoffs? And so far, so good.
Mets, Red Sox, Orioles again, Braves, Mariners, Astros, Yankees, Red Sox.
Tough stuff. It's tough stuff. And we've got all sorts of things to get to today on the Friday show. Really looking forward to diving in here. It has been so long since we've been able to go over a week of meaningful baseball, of regular season baseball. Like, even making the show notes today, Adam, I was like, holy crap, we get to talk things that sort of matter.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got a text. I didn't double check this, but I'm gonna just take my brother's word for it in the group chat with my nephew and my dad. April 25th was the last time Blue Jays were over 500.
Yes. And it's been 3 years, I think, since the last time the Jays have held first place in the division.
That's
So,
wild.
yeah,
Just to
these,
think that there wasn't even a time. I mean, because like we're 1 week in, so obviously it's like, wow,
yeah,
weird stuff happens
yeah,
week one. The Rockies could be in first place, right? So it's just weird that even that never happened with.
exactly. So we're going to get into it. Beasts in the East, the Toronto Blue Jays at the top of the division for the first time in a long time. David Popkins and the change in hitting strategy has been the medicine this team needed so far, anyway. So we'll dive in a little bit about Popkins, his approach, and Andre Jimenez and what Popkins has done for him, which, I mean, he leads the team in home runs, has been incredible since the beginning of the season, is hitting 350, whatever it is. Like, the guy is having himself a hell of a start as a Blue Jay, and you love to see
Mhm.
it. We'll talk Extension City, all sorts of teams locking up their young, controllable talent long term. Extension City does not apply to Toronto, by the way, so we will kind of dive in there.
We're just out of city limits there.
George Springer making us doubt ourselves and the whole he's washed theory we've been putting out there, and I love it. Give
Man,
it
does
to
this
me.
crow ever taste good?
I love this crow. Feed it to me all season long, Georgie. So we'll
Uh,
talk George Springer and the way too early stat leaders around the league. Attendance in Rogers Center was down opening day week and substantially, but I do wish to clear up a little bit of the straight up wrong narrative, right? Like, there's a
right.
lot of people who have thoughts on why this is happening, and I don't feel it is the case. So we'll kind of dive into attendance, and then we'll touch on the Jays and Mets series as the New York Mets making their opening day debut, their home
Reminder,
debut.
early starts for this series.
Yes, 3
Today,
p.m. today. One,
yeah.
if you're an Alberta Blue Jays fan.
Saturday is a prime time game, 7 o'clock Toronto time, and then Sunday again. I think even earlier than today. It's
Yeah,
like
1:30, something
one
like that.
1 o'clock or something. Yeah, 1:30.
Yeah, so we'll dive in. All right, let's start off with the fact that um, I ran into a random Blue Jays fan who had come to a couple baseball towns last year. And it's
Nice.
funny because normally I recognize almost everyone from Baseball Town. I didn't wound up recognizing her. Gemma, and I guess her and her daughter came to a couple last year. And it really was
Nice.
exciting. It was really exciting because they were so excited that Baseball Town was back. And let me tell you, folks, if you have not been to a Baseball Town, Best 20 bucks you can spend if you are a Blue Jays fan. And listen, you don't need to be a crazy in the weeds nerd and know everything about it to enjoy this show. It happens at Comedy Bar April 17th. I'll post the ticket link there. I'm stretching early bird until after this weekend, so you still can
Nice.
get it for. By the way, when I say the ticket's 20 bucks, I already had somebody message me like it was 23. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm not counting taxes and fees for you. The
Tariffs are hurting us all.
they're all so yes, it's $23 after you pay the government and the ticket fees for the box office. This is just how ticketing works, everybody. And my apologies. I'm not trying to like lowball you and make you think that this is some sort of great deal. Yes, you do still have to pay taxes and fees. My apologies. But uh
Or cash at the door, no taxes and fees, but also no early bird price.
that's right.
Right?
And then you're just paying $28. So
There you go. So,
you see how it rolls, folks. You see how it rolls. Okay. Anyways, very excited about this inaugural baseball town for 2025 in Toronto because we have a stellar guest panel. Julia Cruz, formerly of MLB.com, now with Sportsnet, and the co host of
love
Jays
Julia.
Talk Plus with Blake Murphy, who is also going to be there. So we've got the crew there. We've got Mitch Bannon, who is writing for Blue Jays Nation and has done some contract work with MLB.com, formerly of Sports Illustrated, well integrated into the whole Blue Jays analyst scene. Very excited for that. We have the boys from Blue Jays Today, and they are going to pair off. So it's kind of a Nick and Adam versus each other while I give Blue Jays trivia to them.
Ooh,
Is this a cross
nice.
promotion for Blue Jays trivia at Left Field Brewing?
Wow.
Maybe it is.
Scott, you're figuring out how to do this now. Look at you go. I'm so proud of you.
And honestly, dude, the thing I'm actually most excited about is the roast battle that's going to take place between the Seattle Mariners and the Blue Jays. So, Thomas Jones is representing the Blue Jays, well-known Toronto comedian. He did the show last year, was so funny. And then we've got Jordy Bott from the Walk-Off Mariners
Nice.
making the trip down, guesting on the show. It's gonna be good, man.
There's no way we could ever pull this off, but we should have a roast battle of like podcast versus podcast, like Gate 14 versus Jay's Digest.
Oh man, that would be the best.
Man, that would get like I know I could handle getting roasted. Like I've done the roast battles and
Yeah,
whatever. Like it's something you got to just like embrace the dark side of things,
yeah.
and things are gonna get personal, and you gotta just like duck water it off your back. I don't
I
know
don't I don't I don't
if
know
these
if
guys are cut
I don't
out
know if
for
those
it.
kids have it in them, man. Like
Yeah.
and
I
I
mean, whatever. They're on YouTube. They've seen the comment section.
oh,
They've read the
absolutely.
hate.
You
So
gotta
maybe
have
they
thick
would be.
skin to be a podcaster, 100%. And
Maybe
I
they
know
would be.
and you know what? While we're at it, I'll give a little shout out to Gate 14, Johnny and Avery.
Big
Congrats.
guest coming up.
Yeah, congrats on getting Mark Shapiro. They actually got to sit down with him and they're running that episode on Sunday. So great job, Gate
Nice.
14. In Adam's words, hope you enjoy our sloppy seconds. No.
I didn't say that. Come on, you're killing.
You
Okay,
know,
yeah.
you know what? I can take the brunt of it here. But no, actually, I'm really excited that those guys get to sit down with him. They talked with him for an hour. I'm pumped to watch the episode, man. I'm pumped to see what old Mark Shapiro had to say. Hopefully, they didn't bring up Moneyball, lesson that they could take from us.
Indeed. Indeed.
All right. So, Baseball Town, I will put the link for the tickets there. And listen, this is something that's going on all summer long, and get in on it. It's a ton of fun. It's on Thursdays when there isn't a game, and all these Blue Jays fans come down, and we literally just have too much beer, talk too much baseball, and do all the things that normally our friends and family would be super annoyed about, but we just get to act like pigs and shit because everyone's doing it, right? It's everyone's loving it. So we get
Hmm.
to nerd out big time. Baseball Town, April 17th at the Comedy Bar. All right, diving in here, buddy. Listen, after that opening day, it was difficult to compartmentalize and think rationally as a baseball fan, right? Like you and I have watched too much baseball to have obviously written the season off after game
Hmm.
one.
Hmm.
But What a
It
blow.
didn't feel good.
It did not feel good. And let me tell you, man, the rebound after that game, it was impressive. It was very impressive. And you know what was really on display on Wednesday, especially? The depth on this team had a show up game, right? Like
Hmm.
they had a statement game because depth is something that I put right away on the list of concerns with this team. Easton
Hmm.
Lucas had an incredible pitching performance. Can we
Indeed.
continue to rely on this? I don't know. But the thing with depth is you don't need them to show up every single day, right?
Hmm.
You need them when you're up against the wall and you have no one else to go to. And you know what? Big tip of the hat to Easton Lucas. Tyler Heineman. I mean, the Magic Man coming up big when you least expect it, hitting bombs, dropping down bunts. What is going on? I loved it.
Um, there's been a lot of bunts across Major League Baseball this year.
Yeah.
I was watching a breakdown by John Boy of a bunt situation in the Mariners game,
Mm-hmm.
which hilariously started with two failed bunt attempts. The second one on the bunt attempt, he missed the ball. It went past the catcher, and then runners scored, but everybody thought it was a foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
Upon review, no, he just clearly missed the ball entirely. So, like, horrible bunting. Then the rest of the video was showcasing like the good and the bad of the bunting from opening weekend or whatever, and there was like dozens of bunt attempts across the league. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
high. This is up. This is home runs are up and bunting's up.
Well, I know I had you and Joel in the group chat kind of laughing at me on Wednesday because I kind of worked myself up into a fury. You had
Uh-huh.
texted and you were like,
Uh-huh.
love the bunts. Man, if we can actually be hunting a bunting threat all year long, I'd love that. To which I then started to kind of unravel here on you guys because I was just like, especially because Buck Martinez was talking about how much they had practiced bunting and they'd laid down hula hoops and were trying to hit it into the hole and like get it
Apparently
in the
Davis
circle.
Schneider had put up $1,000 for a bunting
Yeah,
contest.
exactly. They were doing bunting contests, and I was like, look at that, eh? They practice bunting, and then they can do it in games. Fuck, this team is hard to buy into sometimes. Like they were the worst
Uh,
offensively in 2023 and last year, and this is the offseason. They start learning how to bunt. Fuck me. Love the bunt, but insane it took 2 years to integrate this. And you guys
yeah.
were like, okay.
Oh
Even
man.
does anyone else do that in grounds crew? Feel free to like bring up an example, but like, do you ever start texting and literally start to lose your mind, and you're like literally working because that's what had happened. I just
Oh
like
yeah.
I'd
Oh yeah.
worked
When your
myself up on
response does not match the energy of whatever the topic that
everything
was
else
brought
is
up
going.
is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've done that before.
And listen, I'm not even a big bunt guy, but I do really love the idea of when they are going to give you a hit and challenge you, you are going to take it from time to time. It changes the way the pitcher pitches to you, right? Like if you're
Look,
going
man.
to, yeah.
Oh, honestly, I just love it as a like the bottom three in the lineup kind of thing. If all those guys can do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just get in a situation where you're like, okay, it's the seventh inning of a close game. Oh, Will Wagner just got on base,
Mm-hmm.
walked or singled or whatever as the eight spot. And then Heineman or Clement or Davis Schneider or whatever can bunt him over to two so that we're bringing up the top of the order, Bo
Yeah.
Bichette, Vladdy, Santander, Jimenez, with a runner in scoring position and one out. Like, that's just
Good baseball.
so much better than watching Davis Schneider fly out or Heineman strike out
Yeah.
or somebody hit into a double play. Like, yeah, let's take advantage of, hey, the eight guy got on. Let's let's put him in a position to cash this in now.
Speaking of the bottom of this order, this week has been so intriguing when you look at the offense. So let's start with the good here. And by the way, we are going to do three studs and a dud to start this segment here. So I'm going to give some context, and then we're going to throw to
Okay.
Adam.
Okay.
So
I'll zip my lips.
so obviously first week, small sample size, And this is unsustainable. I'm well aware the bottom of the order is not going to hit like this all year long, but these are the Blue Jays OPS leaders through the first week. Tyler Heineman, 1,286. Tyler Heineman leading the OPS on this team, even after 1 week, is absolutely insane, and you love to see it. The Magic Man coming through. George Springer, who everyone, us included, questioned heavily this offseason if
Mm-hmm.
he had anything, and I mean anything left in the tank. So far, so good. 1187 OPS. Miles Straw, who everyone lost their mind over, us included, with that salary for a guy who is probably going to be in AAA, is hitting. He's doing what he's got to do as that fourth or fifth outfielder. He's got an OPS of 1143. Andre Jimenez, 1131, and Will Wagner, 889. Now, this is very exciting stuff, except, Adam, these are the top three in the orders OPS. And it's not as exciting. So I'm just sorry, my phone is being a pain.
Bobichette, 754.
Mm-hmm.
Vladdy, 623. And Santander, 559.
Yep, it's not good.
I mean, Bichette, you'll take that.
Absolutely. And you know what? Bichette's been great.
He's I think, struggled in the last two games, but like, man, was he on fire for the first five.
Mm-hmm.
So his numbers would have looked even better. Um, he put together a pretty strong case to be a stud this week
Mm-hmm.
until he kind of disappeared for the last couple there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, top of the order, not getting it done.
And
Depth, getting
as
it done.
as unsustainable as the depth and bottom of the order continuing to do this, I think it's equally unsustainable to think that Bo, Vlad, and Santander won't be pulling their weight here eventually, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you love to see when maybe your top guys aren't getting it done, that your role guys are. And this is something that the Blue Jays have not seen over the last year or two. So it is really refreshing to watch guys that maybe you weren't expecting big things out of do big things.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
On that, I'm going to throw to you here, Adam. Three studs and a dud. So what we've done over the last couple of years is every week we comb through this Blue Jays order. We pick our three studs, the guys who are getting it done, and then we pick the one dud, the man who needs to do more. And Adam has accumulated that information for us.
Little extra context for this year. I'm putting more effort into three studs and a dud in a season-long sense. Okay. So rather than me just issue the three studs and a dud and then never revisit it again, other than a fresh start next week, I'm going to assign point values to these standings. And then by the end of the season, we're going to have a vibe check on who has just been the season's top studs and worst duds. Okay.
I love it.
When I was a kid growing up, I don't know if they still do this because I don't play the NHL video games. Like they do 3 stars of the game, right? Like goalie makes 45 saves in a loss, but he's still the second star of the game. Guy scores a hat trick, he's the first star, and so on. It's kind of that is what I'm going for. So in the old video games, they used to do it was like an EA Sports Award at the end of the season, right? So you'd have all the normal trophies that were given out in the hardware and stuff, but then they'd give out like the EA Sports Award, made up award, but it was like based on that 3 stars, right? Who had the most 3 stars, and obviously first star was worth more than second star and so on. So I'm going to do something similar to that, okay? Here's how I'll break it down the scoring. If you're the third stud, you get a point. If you're the second stud, you get 3 points. If you're
Oh.
stud number 1, you get 5 points. Okay?
And honorable mentions, no points.
No, half a point.
Oh, okay.
Just because. It's a vibe, okay?
I like it.
If you're a dud, -5.
Okay.
You don't want to be a dud. Being a dud hurts. Look,
Yes.
if you're an elite pitcher, but you go out and you give up a 15 ERA week, that's a dud. You're killing us. So duds are going to get penalized. Dishonorable mention, like an honorable mention, but for the dud side, -3. You also don't want to be a dud. So
Okay.
stay off the dud list is the takeaway here. So with that all out of the way now,
Woo!
honorable mention, Chris Bassett.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I want to give a little bit more love to Bassett there too, because what he
please.
did was he stopped momentum for the
Yes.
Orioles in a time that, if you look at this 5-2 record, this Jays team could literally be 3-4 had they lost that Chris Bassett game, right? You have the momentum swing, all of a sudden the pressure ramps up. This
Mm-hmm.
team needed to get off to a hot start because of how much pressure is on them and their bad reputation in April. Let's face it, this team has
Mm-hmm.
not been known for strong starts. And so watching them get off to that good start is amazing. And Chris Bassett, in a time when they needed innings,
Gave us
showed up
6.
big
Yep.
and he shut the door. Old man Bassett. Love it.
Gave up a lot of hits. I mean, it was 8 hits through 6 innings. But he wasn't giving up a lot of runs. It was a 1.5 ERA for Chris Bassett through 1 week of the season. And like you said, he stopped the bleeding when we absolutely needed the stopping of the bleeding. And that's what you need out of a guy like that. So he showed up. Chris Bassett, honorable mention week 1.
Enjoy your half
Um,
a point, Mr. Bassett.
he was in line for a third stud until I started looking at the numbers of this bullpen. And I gotta say, 4 appearances, 4 innings. This is your third stud of the
Jimmy.
week.
Jimmy. Let it be Jimmy.
5 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, and a whip of 0.25, an opponent batting average of 0.77. Jimmy Garcia.
Buddy, I think
As good as it gets.
Jimmy Garcia's signing might be the sneakiest best signing by this team of the season. And I know that adding a cleanup hitter in Anthony Santander
Mm-hmm.
or a guy with some bop is amazing. You know what? Andre Jimenez, who knows? He might even be in this stud list. We're not sure yet. But nonetheless, he's been very good as well. And there's reasons to love the Jeff Hoffman signing.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy was here
Hoffman
last
also
year.
very good.
Jimmy was here last year, and I think that kind of dampened him coming back, or maybe
For
doesn't
sure.
show the value that he had. But I mean, 2 years, 15 million for a
Yeah.
guy who is just getting it done and
Mm-hmm.
has been getting it done with this team. I love it. I love the signing and good to see Jimmy in there at stud number 3, buddy.
Jimmy, by the way, did get a save this week. Um, he'll get spot saves
Mhm.
throughout the year. Jeff Hoffman, 3 saves in 3 save opportunities. So 3 for 3, no blown saves for Jeff Hoffman, the new closer. But yeah, Jimmy Garcia, stud number 3. Stud number 2, man, 21 at bats in 7 games, 1 home run, 5 RBIs,
Georgie.
429 batting average, and a 1.187 OPS. George Springer, stud number 2. I didn't see this one coming. So is it sustainable? I don't know. We'll see. But
I don't even care. Just keep
I
doing
don't
it. Keep doing it
look.
for as long as you can. You know what? Like that's the thing with George. Ride this hot streak. If he keeps it up for another couple games, Adam, do you move him up in the lineup or do you?
No,
Okay,
no. I was just getting to that. Is he's hitting in the middle, the bottom of the order. The pressure's off. Let's just let him have it.
don't change a thing,
Don't
right?
change a thing. No, of course not. So just let him be a guy in the shadows that is an afterthought, right?
I like that.
I don't know.
Shadow Man, George Springer.
5-6 spot, George Springer, stud number 2 this week.
3 big
Look,
points for the kid. The
3
kid,
big
the old
points.
man.
The old man. Yeah, it's going to be a long season, but that's the good start.
I'm
Lot
so
of
excited for this final stud, and you've done a very good
lot,
job, Adam.
lot of candidates here. A lot of candidates. I mean, you mentioned yourself, Tyler Heineman,
Yeah.
uh, great in his appearances. 1.286 for an OPS,
Hmm.
one home run and a 429 batting average. It's great, but it's a small sample size,
Yep.
7 at bats. So he's getting it done when he was in there, limited action. So tiebreaker goes to a guy with was getting it done, maybe not quite at that level, although still very impressive, but a much larger sample size, 26 at bats, 3 home runs, a
Yes.
308 batting average,
Yes.
a 1.131 OPS. Our new
And
favorite Blue Jay,
and defense for days.
defense for days, terrible jersey number, the only strike against him, number 0. Andres Jimenez, stud number 1. So
First in our hearts, 0 on his back.
exactly. Yeah, terrible jersey number. But man, does he ever look good, eh? Good first impression.
And this leads in beautifully to our next topic here, which is David Popkins and Andres Jimenez. So a big
Can we
let's
hold this so I can just
yeah,
blast through these duds quickly? We won't spend
yes.
much time on them. First of all, dishonorable mention to the other new addition to the team, Anthony Santander.
Hmm. Rough first week.
Of the top 3, he is the worst. A 559 OPS, 222 batting average, 6 for 27 with 1 double and an RBI. I mean,
Not
it's early. I'm not worried about him, but
a few things to take away from this. Number one, it is his first time in Toronto uh with wearing the Blue Jays uniform, right? So there's a little added pressure there. Also, if you look into his numbers, he is a notoriously slow starter.
okay.
And I mean, you kind of just got to take these 7 days and trust that a guy with his kind of track record is going to pull out of it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it, but for week 1, he didn't help us win. Um, Dud, I'm gonna say now, when I say this, this might be misleading, but I'm gonna say I I really hope this is the only time he is a dud this year for the Toronto Blue
I
Jays,
already know
okay?
who you're going with.
Guess. Let me hear your guess.
I'm guessing it's Vladdy.
Oh, nope.
Okay.
See, I thought I was giving you some misdirection, and I think I was successful in that.
Yeah, see, I will say this. I was going to push back if you did say Vladdy was the dud, although Vladdy has been also not where he needs to be.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah,
Uh, Numbers slightly better than Santander. So it was between Vladdy and Santander for the dishonorable mention.
yeah.
But our dud of week 1, and hopefully the last time we see him on the dud list, with an ERA of 21.6
Mm.
through 1 2/3 innings, Richard Lovelady. He's been DFA'd.
Who's
I
been
hope we don't
DFA'd
bring him
and
back.
is no longer a Toronto Blue Jay. Lovelady is our dud of the week, a -5 to start off the season, and not a lot of
That's
rope
gonna
to get
that's a
back.
tough, it's gonna be tough to climb out of that hole. So all right, there you go.
There
That's
you
your
go.
3 studs and a dud. We're gonna have fun keeping track of the season totals this year. So look
Grounds
forward to
crew,
that.
drop your comments. What did you think of Adam's in-depth stud and a dud? I was very impressed, buddy. You
Thank
obviously
you.
put some time and work into this.
Yeah.
So 5 points goes to our stud of the week, Andre Jimenez, who has been better than advertised.
Mm-hmm. Truly.
Defensively, everything that we heard about him is true and more.
Mm-hmm.
His clubhouse presence has been so fun to watch because he is so confident and so quiet and just
Yeah.
emanates confidence. And I love that, man. You know,
Yeah.
like he's the perfect offset to Vladdy without being Bo. Right? Like,
Yeah.
without being the complete introvert. He is like the yin to Vladdy's yang, and you love to see it. There was a Sportsnet article on Andres Jimenez reinventing his swing with David Popkins, new hitting coach, written by David Singh. And if you have not seen this article or read it, I would suggest you do it. But it was fascinating. Popkins is turning out to be maybe the best offseason acquisition of the year. And I listen, I know Adam's smiling right now, and I understand why. Okay, I'm well aware we can't just constantly take the take that hitting coaches don't really matter all that much when things are going bad, and then heap all of the
Praise, yeah.
praise onto them when it's going right. But I will say this: David Popkins has he's so impressive to me because just the way he speaks. I really like listening to him talk hitting. He's constantly trying to kind of unlock these hitters' damage Rubik's cube, right? The
Yes.
damage king, David Popkins, to just have the most dangerous version of each hitter enter the box. And it's a game changer if it continues to work. And that is the truth. The guys brought in um have looked really good, and they are
Mhm.
crediting Popkins. And one thing that stood out in this article was a particular line given by Andres Jimenez. And this is what it is, Adam. He goes, David Popkins knows how to give you confidence as a hitter. And I know it's short and sweet and it's not all that deep or crazy or anything like that. But you know what? Confidence is such a intangible, and it
Yep.
comes and goes. And the most confident guys can literally be the least confident in a week, right? Hero to goat happens so often in baseball.
Mhm.
This is another line that stood out to me. After the Blue Jays acquired Jimenez in the December trade that sent Spencer Horwitz to Cleveland, Guardians manager Stephen Vogt offered a scouting report on the infielder to John Schneider at the winter meetings. Jimenez had developed a tendency to, as Vogt said, play it safe. And that resulted in a recent approach that he was geared towards shooting singles the opposite way. It was almost like he was hitting with two strikes all year long. Listen, when you start to lose your confidence, and we all know about Andre Jimenez's 2022 season, got MVP votes, a 141 OPS. He was getting it done as a rookie. At that point, he had so Jimenez in 2021 had a leg kick in AAA, and he was hitting for far more power, and then he ditched the leg kick for a toe tap, and then it worked.
Mhm.
So then he refused to change it, and over the years, it slowly his offense disappeared. So slowly over the next 2 years, he became tighter and smaller in the box and was more concentrated on just putting the ball in play. And David
Mhm.
Popkins kind of sat down with him and convinced him, listen, maybe you are going to strike out a little more. Maybe you are going to wind up with just as many outs. But if some of these singles are home runs, some of these ground balls are doubles, you're really going to watch that OPS jump back up and
Do you think
convince.
do you think Popkins just held up two calendars and one said 2025 and one said 1985 and he was like, "What year do you think it is?" Like, we don't care if you strike out 300 times anymore.
Listen, too, the Guardians' approach on hitting is very different than the Blue
Yes.
Jays because the Guardians don't have money. They need to scrape and scrounge every run that they can get, and they're in the American League Central.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a little bit of a like deflationary approach to intentionally, right? Of like, hey, we got a real good hitter here. If we could talk him into being a 300 guy with 15 homers,
Yeah.
we could sign him to a lot less than if he's a 275 guy with 30 homers.
And listen, I'm not even expecting Jimenez to hit 30 home runs. He's on pace for it right now. I mean, he's on pace for 60. Uh,
No torpedo needed.
I will say that if we can get 25 home runs out of Andre Jimenez and he's hitting 275 and being the guy that we've watched him defensively, this is a 7 WAR guy. And I know there's lots of people who shit on wins above replacement. It's not a real thing, blah 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 blah. Anyways, I think there is some real intrinsic value in the metric that is wins above replacement. I know it's not perfect, but you know what? To go from a position at second base that they had a combined just under 1 WAR last year
Hmm.
to a 7, don't kid yourselves. That's a big deal.
Hmm.
That's a lot of wins that
Above
that
replacement.
weren't there. Yeah, above replacement, sure. Anyways, all of this to say, I really have enjoyed listening to David Popkins talk hitting. I hope that this trend continues. I know that there has been a shift in the strategy around what the Blue Jays have been doing at the plate this year, and it had to be. I don't know why there wasn't a little bit of a reshuffling of ideas last year. Instead, they
Hmm.
ran it back and they hit a wall. And you know what? I want to say credit where credit's due, but I don't even want to give credit to Atkins for this. But I mean, he did change, and it's
Hmm.
working right now. And I hope it continues
So
to
far,
work.
so good.
So far, so good. All
Now,
right.
the big question for me with this is once the bat does cool off, does he trust the process? Can he stick with the leg kick and not revert back to a toe tap, which may get him out of a slump, but then is going to really limit his ceiling in terms of power the rest
And
of the
this
year.
is what we
So,
talked about with the torpedo bats, right? Is like, you
yeah,
know what? These guys are going to hit slumps eventually. And are they
it's a
just
lot of
going to
beer.
like go right back to what they always revert to? Baseball players love to do that, right? They love
I
to,
already saw Davis was using a normal bat again
yeah, right.
already.
Yeah,
So,
it
tried
took.
it out, wasn't for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there you go. All right, moving on to extensions because we are seeing them all over the league, just not in Toronto. Let's start with Arizona locking up the most valuable second baseman in all of baseball until this year's Andres Jimenez, right? Fingers crossed. But Ketel Marte has been the offensive engine of the Diamondbacks over the last few years. He has been an underrated war machine when it comes to wins above replacement. And the Diamondbacks All-Star second baseman Ketel Marte has a new extension. He gave them the J-Ram, everybody. Talk about value here. So sources tell ESPN already locked up through 2028. He's in agreement on a 6-year, $116 million contract, which starts this season. It includes a player option in 2031 for $11.5 million. With escalators, the deal could be worth $150 million. He also receives a 5-team no trade clause. I'm sure Toronto is on that. Uh,
Sure.
he'll be a 10-5 guy next season and can veto any trade at that point. So if the Diamondbacks are going to trade him without him vetoing it, they need to do it this year, and they're not going to obviously on that kind of contract. So very impressive there. I'm just going to roll through all of these here, and then we can talk
Hmm.
extensions and what you think of them.
Okay.
Christian Campbell. Now, this isn't an interesting one because rookie second baseman Christian Campbell of the Boston Red Sox, and this kid just made the team this year. So this is sort of like the Jackson Chourio deal, but more lucrative than the Brewers made last year. Um, so the Boston Red Sox are in agreement on an 8-year, $60 million contract extension that includes 2 club options. Sources tell ESPN Campbell, 22, is expected to be a franchise cornerstone and is now locked up through 2024. Christian Campbell's deal with the Red Sox includes club's options for 2033 at $19 million and 2034 at $21 million. That would take the full guarantee of the contract to $100 million over 10 years. If both options are exercised, Campbell would be a free agent at 32. I doubt he does any of those. He probably would like to hit free agency at 29, 30 there if all goes well for his career. But intriguing to watch the Boston Red Sox buy out his arb years, right? Extend his tenure an extra couple
Hmm.
years before he hits free agency. These are the sort of deals that look really good if they work out in the long term. And you know what? $60 million, even if the kid is a giant flop, it's not an albatross. You can work around a overpay like that.
Hmm.
Finally, and not least, the other contract that was made was another youngster A little bit more in it. A little bit more of a track record here. He finished second in Rookie of the Year voting behind Paul Skeens last year in the NL. Jackson Merrill and the San Diego Padres are in agreement on a 9-year, $135 million contract extension. The deal, which can max out at $204 million after escalators, includes a $30 million club option for a 10th season that can convert to a player option. And there you go. These are the extensions. So we just watched number one, the Diamondbacks lock up 29-year-old Ketel Marte long term. He's going to probably end his career with the Diamondbacks. We watched both the Padres and Red Sox jump the gun and buy out years of ARB and extend their young superstars, their free agency, push it down to the 2030s. This is relevant to the Blue Jays because of Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who are currently on expiring contracts at the end of this season. We've watched what has happened if you do the other thing, which is wait it out for certainty.
Mm-hmm.
What is your overall thoughts on this, Adam? We don't need any, insane, in-depth breaking stuff. Just when you hear these extensions, does it hurt a little? Knowing the Jays did not do this, and would have you preferred, and grounds crew members, please pipe up here. Would you have preferred the Jays front office had taken this approach when it comes to the young talent on this team? Or have they played it right?
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because we are in a position where we're going to watch these two guys leave. So that's going to sting. But also, contracts like this almost never work out for the team. I don't know. It's even when they do work out, it feels uh like oh, what's his face? The stoner looking guy from Milwaukee. Christian Yelich, thank you. He signed a what do you call it? Team friendly pre-arb deal when he was a sophomore,
Mm-hmm.
which was like all the risks still on the team. Like I don't know the first guy you mentioned today, but it's like, yeah, okay, like even if it doesn't work out, it's like it's still not that bad. It's 6-7 million a year for 5-6 more years. Like you can eat that. It's like, okay, but those also like do add up. And then when you get a Christian Yelich where it's like, okay, by the time he's whatever, the post ARB into the 2 years of free agency that you earned, it's like, the guys get extensions at that point anyways, and you end up erasing all of that upside that you had in the
Mm-hmm.
good deal. Anyways, right? So like if we had assigned Bo to a 10-year deal as a rookie, right? And we erased 2 or 3 years of free agency, right? And he's going to be a free agent 2 more years from now. And we've got him locked up for the next 2 years at 20 million a year. We're like, man, this is a good deal. We'd still be in the situation right now where we're renegotiating to extend him for another 10 years. And if successful, we're going to increase the price of those next 2 years, which were the discounted years. So it's like
Yeah.
you do kind of just take on a risk. And even when it works out, you end up kind of just having to extend them. And so it's like we're not really any further behind than we would have been if we had assigned these guys to similar deals as rookies. Like we were texting the other day about Ronald Acuna Jr.,
Yeah.
right? Like he got a sweet deal, for the team as far as the team's concerned, and then has missed 30% of his games since then, and turns out has two knees that are worse than mine. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Padres deal with Merrill feels good. Like he's obviously a superstar of talent there in San Diego. They are still taking the risk though that he's going to stay healthy and that he's going to continue on the upward trajectory. But I will say, because of the division they're in with the Dodgers, they do kind of have to take some chances like this, right? Like in
Mm-hmm.
order to catch the Dodgers and to surpass the Dodgers, they're going to have to take some gambles and have those gambles work out. So if that like you're going to have to get guys to buy in and be like, "Hey, we're going to try and build something special here, and we're going to
But we need some
look after
flexibility
you
to
and we
do
want you to
it.
look
Yeah.
after us and
Yeah.
like all that sort of thing." So like but it's still risky. It's still risky. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
I
Groundster,
don't
let
know.
us know. Where are you at on extensions like this? I think that, I mean, you summed it up pretty well, buddy. Like when they work out, they work out. You look like a genius, right? And when they don't work out, it's still there is that risk involved where yeah, maybe it's only 10 million a year or 5 million a year, somewhere in there, but it's still costing you.
Yeah. I was looking at the deals for other like notable pre-arb deals like Julio Rodriguez and Fernando Tatis Jr. and stuff. And like those are like the riskier, 9-figure deals than some of these ones that were announced the other day. But it's like even with Julio Rodriguez in Seattle, it's like he doesn't look the same as he did in his rookie season.
No, he doesn't.
Fernando Tatis has his own weird stuff going on. Like the talent is there,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of question marks that I think maybe don't make you feel so thrilled about 30 million a year for the
Mm-hmm.
next decade and a half
Yeah.
with Fernando. Again, talent's there, can't argue that. But I don't know. It's then there's Wander Franco, which we don't have to get into.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
right.
did hear his trial was delayed and he's talking about a return to Major League Baseball.
Oh,
So
okay. Good for him.
going to be weird to see him in a Yankees jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine Wander Franco winds up coming back to Major League Baseball like that. Wow, that would be insane. Anyways, we have about 10 minutes left here, so we're going to kind of rip
Sorry.
through these final topics here. George Springer, hot as they come. So
Really good.
these are some early, way too early stat leaders. Batting average number one in baseball is Willie Abreu, Willier, I should say, with the Boston Red Sox hitting 471. Will Smith hitting 450 with the Dodgers, and third in all of baseball, George Springer with 429 home runs. Aaron Judge leads the way with 5. Eugenio
Wow.
Suarez. Listen, Suarez, when he gets hot, is the best hitter in baseball. And then when he's cold, you wonder why he's even playing the game, and he is hot. So he's also at 5 right now with the Diamondbacks. And then Kyle Schwarber sitting at 4 with the Phillies. Runs batted in. Aaron Judge leads the way with 15 because the Yankees have been homer friendly.
Ashing.
Like they've just been smashing it. So he has 15. Perdomo, of all people, is hitting,
Hmm.
has 11 with Arizona. Suarez has 11 with Arizona. And then Saya Suzuki with the Cubs have 11. And then hits. Kyle Tucker leading the way for the Cubs with 12. Saya Suzuki second with the Cubs with 11. Fernando Tatis in at third with the Dodgers, the Padres with 11. So there you go. That's the way too early stat leaders. Kind of interesting to see who's in there to start the year.
Hmm.
Now we're going to talk attendance at the Rogers Center. So this is from Rob Longley of Sun Sports. He goes through the first 7 home dates. Rogers Center attendance is down by an average of more than 5,000 a game versus the first 7 of 2024. Now, this is on Twitter, and everyone there says they ended last season in last place. You can't get a half decent seat for under $100. No wonders attendance is down. First of all, none of that's true. I just about I wanted to go to the game on Wednesday, wound up not being able to go. Well, I shouldn't say that. My wife just wasn't feeling very well, and it had the snowstorm, and it was just a pain. But tickets were literally like we could go for $6 to sit in the 500s, and that's not a joke. Like even front row 500s, I was fine signing them for $11. The 200s you could sit in for around $25, and there were tickets as good as like 35 for
Hmm.
the for the lower bowl. So the price of tickets, if in your head it's like over $100, you just need to check some of these sites. Like that is not the case. The other thing I will say about attendance, there was a snowstorm. Like it is March. It was March for this first week. Remember, the Blue Jays were on the road for the first like 2.5 weeks the last 2 years, right? So they didn't start until the middle of April, which definitely helps attendance. It's nicer out. As soon as it's nicer, everyone wants to go to a ball game. Plus, I will
Mhm.
say that yes, obviously there's a wait and see going on with this team, right? We've all been snake bit before, but I think if the Blue Jays can continue to pile up wins, this is a non issue. Even if you hate Ross Atkins, I think that you're a Blue Jays fan at heart and you're going to go watch a winning team. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Well, there's also like Maple Leafs are still
yeah,
like wrapping
absolutely.
up, playoffs start in 2 weeks, so they'll be done in 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
where's my Oilers hat?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, let's definitely be a hypocrite. There
Um,
you go. Adam Adam put his hypocrisy on his head. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, so
uh,
I don't know. I am curious on your thoughts, grounds crew, on attendance. Do you think that this is a little bit overblown? Everyone's making a pretty big deal out of the drop in attendance, but it doesn't feel quite like the sinking
have,
ship.
have you checked out that new section in right field there? That's like
328 or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. You
No, I
check that
haven't.
out?
I haven't been to the
No.
Rogers Center yet. I do finally have tickets for the
I'm
Monday,
so
the
curious
14th
about
game.
that. If that would be awesome or terrible.
It's probably a horrible place to watch the game and also incredibly awesome as you're like pretty much right in right field, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you're like like almost below, right? Like it looks like eye level is like
yeah, like
2 feet off the ground. Like
it
it's a
looks like it would
sub.
be a super cool place to be if there wasn't a ball game being on played.
Yeah, like is it okay? Because I know some of those sections are like kind of just first come, first serve, standing room, whatever. Is it that sort of a situation? Like you just pop in, you have any ticket to the game, and you just pop in there?
No,
And
you
if
need
it's,
you
or do
need
you got to
to
get a special ticket for that place?
yeah, you need a special ticket for that
Ugh,
place. It's yeah,
that's no fun.
I don't know. All
Yeah.
right, moving on to the final thing here. I got to wrap up right away here, but
Goodbye.
season and home opener for the New York Mets goes today
It's
against the Blue Jays. It is going to
gonna
be
be a tough series.
Tyler McGill versus Kevin Gosman in game one. Chris Bassett, the Hound Dog, taking the mound tomorrow night against Griffin Conine. Griffin Canning. And then Bowden Francis and David Peterson in the rubber match of that series. Should be a good little series. First, another pretty good test for the Blue Jays.
Bowden Francis was odd man out in three studs and a dud this
Yeah.
week. He was the honorable mention that got bumped when I saw Jimmy Garcia's stats.
Yeah.
So Bowden Francis,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a skeptic.
Yeah. Starting to
He's
buy in.
doing it again this year.
Yeah.
I'm starting to believe,
That we have
man,
ourselves
I know
a
a number
legit
five.
a legit at least number 4 or 5 at least,
Yeah.
Okay. Grounds crew, thank you so very much for following along. Go Blue Jays, go. We will be back on Tuesday with Mailbag. Of course, if you are a Patreon member, we'll see you Monday for MLB Mondays. Baseball Town, April 17th. Get your tickets, everybody. This is going to be a humdinger. If there's ever been a place to use humdinger, I think it's to hype up Baseball Town.
Can we talk those City Connect jersey leaks on Monday?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Let's talk some City
sounds
Connects
good.
on Monday. Love it. All right, gang. Thank you so much for following along. Cheers.